Let me just say we're grateful for the turnout, and what I'd encourage you all to do is to encourage other people to participate in these opportunities, because there's so much that's going to be done over the next few years. When you think about the $70 million that we, $70 million that we have to tear down about 1,200 properties throughout the city, and the state wanting to give us another $40 million if we can get those 1,200 torn down, which will create a lot of opportunity to do business in the city of Baltimore. The reason I separated housing and community development from the housing authority is because both deserve the same attention. And even when we think about some of the public housing that we built in the city, and I look at some of the public housing, I said, well, where's the playgrounds for the young people? Where's the recreation for the young people? Doesn't make sense. So we've got a lot of work. We just got ratification for one of our, the RAD program to move forward in the Somerset area. We're very excited about that, which means a lot of development is going to be taking place over there. When I think about the Vacancy Values program, one of the things that concern me is tearing down houses and not having a plan forward. You know, I see us with these green stamps on buildings throughout the city, and I understand what that says to people is that that is available. But what we're trying to do now is assemble properties, you know, not just one house here and one house there. But what I think that people don't know, there's a lot of things about our programs that people don't know. For example, if there's a board of house next to you, a vacant lot next to you, you, the homeowner next door, could ask to acquire it, or you can ask to acquire or maintain the vacant lot. I don't think most people in the city know that, you know, and so we need to do a better job of promoting the opportunities. I know, for example, that that is in fact the case because I have a hairdresser who lives on Fayette Street, whose house next door has been boarded up for years, and it is still she's asking to take, you know, to take control of that particular piece of property. And so we've got to make it easier. And when we think about Park Heights, for example, I think we've already assembled, what, about 26, how many acres? 66 acres. 66 acres of land for development. Now, because I've paid so much focus on redeveloping neighborhoods and communities that have been neglected for decades, we now have folks who are interested in developing those neighborhoods and in those communities. And, you know, we're even looking at what do we do about Pimlico and how can we change make sure that the Preakness stays, and, you know, whether you gamble or not, is an economic generator, and it is one of the jewels in the Triple Crown, which brings a lot of attention to Baltimore City. So we want to make sure that we maintain it, but we also want to make sure that we enhance the neighborhoods around that for the people who live in those communities. And what I've said oftentimes is that people forget that people have bought houses even in some of the most dilapidated areas of the city. And if you bought your house 30 or 40 years ago and you own it today, I don't care what value you may place on it, the fact of the matter is that you own it. So people deserve the same kind of attention in those neighborhoods. You know, why or how, you know, these neighborhoods stayed neglected for so many years, you know, I don't know. But what I do know is that as the mayor, I have a responsibility to change the trajectory of those neighborhoods and communities. I know there are people in here who are working in Sandtown who have ideas about how to change the trajectory of that particular neighborhood. And so what I want us to do is to be able to work with those folks in those neighborhoods and communities, because those are the people who really are involved, really can change. Pastor brought, not only does he have a church there, he bought a home there. And so he's committed to being in that neighborhood and in that community. And so having those developers and so forth work with these folks who have ideas, may need additional resources, I think will bode well for Baltimore City and for its communities and neighborhoods. I want to see us, our city, investing in itself. I want to see people who live in our city committed to bring about the change. You know, I was telling the media today, it's interesting that everybody keeps asking me about a violence reduction plan. I tell them I ran on a 5-point plan to how to change Baltimore and gave specific focus on public safety. I said the question you all ought to be asking me is, where am I on the plan that I put in place and what has changed as a result? You know, one of the things I talked about was lighting up our neighborhoods. And when I go down Pennsylvania Avenue now, people are thanking me because we've lit up those streets. Now, have we changed that neighborhood drastically? Absolutely not. But the field down below it that had not been, where they didn't even have benches for people to sit on, mothers would drag their lawn chairs over and sit them down on the ground. I just think that's disrespectful. So we've put you know, what do we call those things? The bleachers. We put bleachers there because they deserve it. A young boy, I was walking on the basketball court. He said, "Madam Mayor, can you fix the rim?" You know, and so we fixed the rims there. But we've got a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of opportunity. And I don't want Baltimoreans to miss out on those opportunities. So this is your opportunity to connect. The reason, again, that we separated HABC from HCD is because housing will be focused on how do we develop our communities. Not one part of the city juxtaposed against another part of the city. How do we change this city? Why does North Avenue from Hilton to Milton look like it does? There are some changes taking place, but we can do more. Park Heights, where people come speeding down from the counties or wherever, and they go down Park Heights Avenue or Ricestown Road, and this is the image that you give people outside of your city of your city. So if you don't change those neighborhoods and communities, people don't have hope. And so again, I ask you all to take a look at those neighborhoods, communities, partner with the people who live in those neighborhoods and communities, and help us change our city. We have a backpack giveaway. Believe it or not, it's almost time for children to go back to school. Can you believe it? Even though we moved it up to after Labor Day, which I think is a great thing, because that's when we went back to school, after Labor Day. So there are thousands of young people down at War Memorial Plaza waiting to get their backpacks. So I have to get back down there. But please don't let this be a missed opportunity. Do not sit back and have a question and don't ask it of the people sitting up here. Hopefully at some point you'll get to meet Janet. I don't think she's here. She's running our housing authority, an African-American female who came in from New York who will be working on projects in that area. So hopefully you'll get to meet her as well. We are making changes, not fast enough for me, but at the same time we're making the changes that we need to make to change this city. You will hear more about some of the things that we're doing outside of housing. But again, affordable housing is important in the city. You know, we don't want to suffer what others, you know, people say, oh, great city. Yeah, but what happened to the people who lived in those neighborhoods and communities? So we've got to make sure that we maintain affordable housing, because we're not looking for gentrification where people can't get back into the neighborhoods. We want to make sure that they're able to come back into their communities and into their neighborhoods. So creating additional green space is essential. You know, so when you're thinking about projects that you do, you know, always think about the need for green space, because, you know, one, it makes our communities healthier, and it gives our children a place to play. And believe it or not, others would like to sit down in the park as well. Am I correct? Absolutely. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I tell people when I vision looking out the window of the train station, I'm seeing seniors with a park that they can walk around, children jumping rope, you know, folks skipping through the park, a dog park over on the side, a community that is well endowed with all of the assets necessary to change the trajectory of our community. So thank you all for giving me a moment to speak, but please don't leave here not having asked the questions of these folks standing up here that you need answered. Thank you.